Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I call the meeting of the Fraser Planning Commission for December 1st, 2021 to order at 7:03 p.m. If you'll join me in starting our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of the United States of
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We had a lot of them there. Okay. Thank you. I'll now read the notice of electronic public meeting. To protect the public health and in accordance with the City of Fraser's local state of emergency due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the Fraser Planning Commission will meet electronically on December 1st, 2021, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, using the Zoom platform for video conferencing and public access. This notice is required to ensure that those wishing to observe and/or participate in the meeting have the opportunity to do so. The public can participate via the Zoom application, internet access via the Zoom website, and/or via telephone using the Zoom telephone number and meeting ID. The public will be able to hear Planning Commission members and will be permitted to speak for up to 5 minutes during the public participation portions of the agenda. Please note that callers, viewers will automatically be muted and must remain muted until called upon to speak by the chair. Written comments will be accepted prior to the date and time no later than 4:30 p.m. on the day of the meeting by the building department at zoning@micityofFraser.com, which is the method by which members of the public may contact members of the public body to provide input or ask questions on any business that will come before the public body at the meeting. Public hearing comments will be heard during any public hearing that is conducted during the meeting, and other comments will be heard or reviewed during public participation. In the event of a change in the status of local states of emergency, Planning Commission meeting may be changed from a remote meeting to a live in-person meeting to be held at Fraser City Hall, 33,000 Garfield Road, Fraser, Michigan, 48026 on the same date and at the same time. The city will post notice of any change in method of conducting the meeting from a remote meeting to an in-person live meeting and/or any change in the meeting place for this meeting to the city's website at www.ci.fraser.mi.us. Interested parties should periodically check for such changes or contact the city clerk's office at 586-293-3100. City of Fraser thanks all of you for your understanding and support as we all attempt to navigate these challenging times together. Okay. That being said, we'll go to agenda item 2, which is roll call. I want to remind the members to include where they are remotely connecting to our meeting from. Mr. Erbil, if you'll please.
Sure. Commissioner Barr.
Glenn Barr, attending remotely from the city of Fraser, county of Macomb, state of Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Chernick.
I'm present, participating from Macomb County, Fraser, Michigan.
Commissioner Farina.
Frank Farina, participating from Fraser, Michigan, Macomb County.
Commissioner Kyle.
John Kyle, remote, Fraser, Michigan, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Perry.
Kenneth Perry Jr., attending remotely from the county of Macomb, city of Fraser, 48026, Michigan.
And Chair Warner.
Randy Warnick, attending remotely from the city of Fraser, Michigan, and Macomb County. Okay. Thanks. So we'll go on to approval of the agenda. If there's any discussion or comments from any of the members.
I'd like to talk about receiving hard copies, because this under open had an item to talk about that later.
I wanted the same thing, so I agree with you there. So we'll add that. We could add that to board members' comments.
Okay.
Anything else on the agenda? If not, I'll
Aye.
entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda from the August 4, 2022 meeting as printed.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Kyle. Is there any support?
I will
Also-
support Mr. Chair, but I would ask Mr. Kyle to say it's not August, the meeting. We're doing the
Yeah, right,
agenda.
exactly.
Just the
December 1.
agenda. Yeah, this isn't the minutes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
It's
reading
okay.
the.
Do you want to take back that approval?
Yeah, I'll retract the one and approve the agenda for the meeting of December 1st, 2021.
Okay, and support?
Second.
I'll support.
All right. So we got a motion by Commissioner Kyle and support by Commissioner Perry.
Mr. Chair, can I
yep.
have a discussion? I
Sure.
think Mr. Farina wanted to add the item to number 10, so it should be as prepared with the revision.
Okay, is that, I mean, because it's usually just comments in there, so I guess,
Okay.
should we, Clark, should we have to add that to it?
I don't
it-
think you have to. I mean, you can, but I think it could appropriately be taken up under item number 10 as a commissioner's comment.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay, so we'll leave things as they stand and we'll go on to opening remarks.
Did you vote on the?
Oh, sorry.
proposed
Yeah, we got,
agenda?
That's fine.
that's right, Mr. Urbio, go
We haven't
ahead.
been doing this in a long time.
Yeah,
Commissioner Barr,
Approve.
Commissioner Trinick,
Yes,
Commissioner Farina,
Yes,
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Chair Warnick.
yes. Okay, so that takes care of the agenda. So now we're going to go chairperson's opening remarks. Tonight's meeting will follow the agenda that was posted online. Before we begin, it is important to let everyone know that the Planning Commission is created by state law. The commission is comprised of 7 members, all of whom have volunteered to serve. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. When roll call is conducted, as we did previously this evening, the Open Meetings Act requires each member who is attending remotely to announce the following: attending remotely from what county, township, city, or village, and in Michigan. The role of the Planning Commission is to plan and promote the efficient coordinated development of the city for the health, safety, and general welfare of its residents. We are not here to negotiate with applicants or allow everything an applicant is requesting. However, the Planning Commission does have the power to approve certain requests and recommend others, depending on the nature of the request and whether all of the standards in the zoning ordinance have been met. Planning Commission may also impose conditions on a proposed project in order to ensure that those standards are met. Other individuals attending here tonight are representatives from legal firm of O'Reilly Rancilio PC and representatives from McKenna and Associates. Now that we've gone over these guidelines, we'll begin our agenda for this evening. We'll move forward with agenda item number 5, approval of the minutes of the meeting of August 4th, 2021. Any discussions or comments on those?
and Mr. Chair, I
Yes,
have a comment.
yes, Commissioner Zarnicki.
Okay, on page 3, agenda item 3, site plan 21-07, relating to the Fraser Eye Care Center. The motion to approve condition number 3 states that we want 2 bicycle racks. I don't think that was the intent of the Planning Commission. I believe the intent of the Planning Commission was to have a bike rack at each of their buildings. So there are 2 agenda items with that approval. And I would suggest that condition number 3 read bike rack with more than 2 bicycle capacity. And that's my only comment on the minutes.
Does anybody else have any different, maybe on that item even, that they remember anything different? I remember it that way.
me too.
Okay. So if we could do that, Paul,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
make that amendment. Any other items of concern? No discussions or comments? If now, I'll accept motion to approve the minutes with the additional comments of Chairman Zarnicki, or Chairperson Zarnicki, and Chairperson. Oh, I'll
I'm
get
not
this
chair.
thing. I know. I'll get this.
It's been
All
a
right,
while.
commission members Zarnicki.
Mr. Chair, I can move
We-
to approve the draft minutes of August 4, 2021 as prepared with the revision to page 3, agenda item site plan 21-07, the condition number 3 to read bike rack with more than 2 bicycle capacity.
At each building.
Okay, we have motion. Do we have support?
Isn't that supposed to say at each building?
But I think there was
Yes.
an approval, there were two separate cases and that condition exists for both buildings. So I guess maybe we need to revise it in both places.
Mr. Chair, if I can, agenda item number 4. The motion is, again, it's on page 4, and that condition number 3 says addition of a bike rack. So you might want to read that to a bike rack with more than 2 bicycle capacity. I'm okay with that also, but it
Okay.
just mentions 1 bike rack, not 2.
So we need to do it under both items then.
If that's the pleasure of the board members, and I will move to make that motion.
Okay, do we have any support?
I'll support.
Okay, approval. Been moved by Commissioner Zarnicki with seconded by Commissioner Kyle. Let's take roll call on that.
Commissioner Barr,
Yes.
Commissioner Zarnicki,
Yes,
Commissioner Farina,
Yes,
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Chair Warnick.
Yes. Okay, that being said, we can go on to new business. First off, public hearings, we have none. Site plans and other reviews, we have none. But we do have an update from administration. So, Mr. Erbil,
Yes.
if you'll give us that.
Thank you. And I'll make this quick. But since it's been a long time since we've talked, I just wanted to sort of cover some high points about what things have been going on and offer to answer any questions you might have about anything to do with the business of the commission and things that have been going on in the planning department recently. As you know, there has not been a lot of development application coming through the door. I was saying before the meeting that I am having lots of conversations, but for one reason or another, people that I think are an application is pending, it just has not followed through yet. So that said, I think for January, there are at least 2 things that I've been talking to potential applicants and tracking that. We may have a meeting, but all fall, I've had that suspicion a couple times and it hasn't panned out. I sent around with your packets and anticipating the comment, I'm completely fine with from now forward, always issuing hard copies. But in your electronic packets, I sent around the tracking sheet of the projects that you've heard mostly this year. A couple of them are older than that. And I'm happy to answer any questions about where things are at. I will say that since I sent that out, AutoZone should be in the ground pretty soon. They're waiting on a sanitary permit from the state, but I think that they will begin construction, at least on the foundation of the building, fairly soon. And then also just today, the Kelly Road Industrial Project submitted an updated easement agreements back to Clark in response to his comments. Otherwise, the Fraser Eye Care building is well under construction, and those are the things that really have progressed in the last month or so. But if you have any questions about anything, I'm happy to answer them. I also distributed a draft meeting calendar for next year, which we will discuss or adopt at the next meeting. But please let me know if there's nothing different from your custom of meeting on the first Wednesday of the month and then having an alternate date of the third Wednesday of the month. But please let me know if you have any comments about that. The appointment or the sort of advertisement to fill Commissioner Cook's seat has been open for a little while. I think there might be an application or two. It's not clear to me if there actually is an active application. I know that the city council at their meeting next week is planning to take up the topic of commission vacancies. There's also a vacancy on the zoning board and maybe one on the Parks Commission. I think there's at least 3 on city commissions right now. The clerk's office, Mary from the City Hall, has reached out. I know she talked to Commissioner Barr, and she mentioned that she was left messages with Chair Warnick and Commissioner Perry. The City Council is also planning on taking up reappointments. So assuming that you both would like to continue your post, I just ask that if you got that message, if you could just please get a hold of Mary to affirm your interest in that so that you can be reappointed at council next week. And then virtual meetings. I don't know if Clark or Alyssa has any more insight than this, but I also mentioned before the meetings that I think unless something changes, I would anticipate that perhaps the next time we meet, we will be meeting in person just because the modification to the Open Meetings Act, as I understand it, expires at the end of the month. I think the
That's
city
correct.
council, yeah. So barring any action by the state legislature, I think we will be shifting to in-person meetings next time.
I talked to Don Donald about that today, and he said that it appears to him that there's no interest on the part of the legislature of extending that time period. So this is probably the last virtual meeting we're going to have unless things change to the extent that the legislature decides to change the Open Meetings Act to allow virtual meetings. So anyway, that's the update on that.
Paul, you asked us for comments on what we thought about going back to regular meetings, and I sent in some comments and some suggestions. Do you know if any of those will be enacted?
I don't know. I do know that there is officially a mask requirement at City Hall right now. There have not been modifications to the physical space, and I don't know that there is any movement towards making those modifications. I did pass your comments along at that time, Commissioner Freedom. But I think the city council has been meeting in a hybrid fashion for a while, where they've been meeting in the room, but they're offering the public the opportunity to come in via Zoom. And as I understand it, that is partially to try to manage the room. And I think the modifications or the change in operations will mostly be about managing the quantity of people in the room and make sure that there are overflow spaces if necessary.
Okay.
But I mean, there is a mask mandate at City Hall. In my office hours, I don't take my mask off just because there are people, the public, there's a lot of people in and out all the time.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner
can we
Zarnicki.
can we ask Commissioner Farina to share with us his comments that he did forward?
Can we do that?
Well, I can do it I can't get on my computer to look, but best I can remember was one will be they had put up plastic barriers between the public and the workers there. Would that be the same for city council? Would there be partitions between those or not? Just ask some questions if they were going to modify the room at all. Would there be a limit put on the number of people in the room? Those type of things. Would people be required to wear a mask? Just like Paul said.
Thank you.
All right, that's good. Paul, I'd like to know too, if we do get an application or if you got it, can you right away add it to an agenda so we can do interviews on, even if it's one application, or are you waiting for a number of them?
I think it was just,
I know he has one. I know there's one, at least one.
Okay, I think we should act, you know,
I was, and I'll have to follow up to make sure that I am aware of the one that I mentioned is the same one that Commissioner Freeman is referencing. But my understanding was that there was one that was put in, but then sort of rescinded or put on pause. And I hadn't gotten confirmation about whether that person is actually interested or not. So that's why you haven't seen it yet.
okay.
Okay.
So let's try to keep that moving as fast as we can then, because
Absolutely.
it's still got to go to council after us. So it's still
Correct.
going to be a delayed process no matter how we do it.
Yes.
So the sooner the better. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Urbio? Okay. Seems that is the update from administration then. Thank you, Paul. We'll go to item number 7, unfinished business. And this is item 01-19 SUB. Max Mancini, Garfield Park subparcels 1 through 10, site plan amendment. Do we have, we've got the memo that we received. Is there, and I know we got, did everybody get a copy of the input from Mr. Mancini that just came, not just recently?
It came in the form of an email from me, probably about an hour or two after your packets were distributed.
Yeah, did everybody get to see that, or did that get forwarded to everybody?
Yeah, I read it.
I got,
Okay,
got forwarded, I read it, but I can't relook at any detail now. My internet's out.
you know, yeah. Do we don't have Mr. Mancini here then? Am I
No,
correct?
that's correct. In that correspondence, he asked if it would be helpful for him to be at this meeting. I responded to him and said yes, it would, and I sent him the agenda, but he's not at this moment in the waiting room or on the call.
So how should we proceed with this?
I think as long as he was given the opportunity to come and told that it may be beneficial, you can proceed in his absence. If you want to. If you don't want to, then you can,
Well,
postpone it.
let's open it up to the commissioners and see if anybody has any comments on anything.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would prefer to go ahead and entertain the application this evening. We've given Mr. Mancini a long time to follow through on our requests. And I would believe that he would want to be here this evening in front of us to discuss it. Hopefully he's okay, that he is able to attend, but I would like to go forward with it.
Okay, any other members?
No problem with me.
Any other comments?
Doesn't matter to me. We can do either way.
Okay. Just for clarification, Mr. Urbio, then, if I remember the letter and that, it's something that Mr. Mancini is basically transferring to that homeowner that hasn't paid the taxes yet or done the land joining.
Correct.
So is it just because of a time thing with him? Should we maybe not be punishing Mr. Mancini if it's the homeowner's responsibility to do it, and if he's moving in that direction? I look at it like your kids, you still, if you say say, hey, you were wrong doing that, but you're not going to disown them. Well, it's the same kind of thing. Are we gonna allow him a
Mr. Chairman?
chance to? Well, yes. Go ahead,
Mr. Chairman.
go ahead, Commissioner Farina.
I view it differently. I view Mr. Mancini has known that it's his responsibility to get that done. And, you know, I view that he has just strung us along, and he continues to string us along. I don't mean that in contempt, but I just think that he is not motivated to follow what we've requested for him.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Clark.
I think the responsibility to get the lot combination was with Mr. Mancini, and the fact that he sold the property and conveyed it does not change that obligation. Now, obviously, he has to have the cooperation of that homeowner, and as far as I know, there's nothing that, I mean, obviously, since that homeowner now owns the property, he would have to join in the application, but the responsibility to get that combination done lies with Max Mancini, not with the new buyer.
But if ownership is
Exactly.
already there with the new homeowner or new purchaser,
That was a requirement levied on the lot prior to the sale. Am I wrong there, Clark?
No,
I mean, that's been on the record for a long time.
That responsibility to combine has been there for a very long time, and the fact that he conveyed the property and recorded the deed that does not change that responsibility. The only thing it does is, I think it requires the cooperation of the new owner. I think if Mr. Mancini came in and said, you know, all the taxes are paid, I've got completed an application and I have done everything and I've signed it as the former owner, but I need the current owner to sign it, and he has declined to do that, then I think that's a different situation. But that is not my understanding of what the situation is. So, and the responsibility for getting that combination done lies with Mr. Mancini. And truthfully, I believe he should have done that in as part of the process of deeding that property to him. I think that he possibly intended to try to transfer that responsibility to the new owner because he didn't want to have to do it. But I don't view it that way. And I think it was a responsibility that he was well aware of before the time he conveyed that property to the new owner.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, can I just recap what I understand to have happened since the last meeting?
yes, please, Mr. Real.
So you last met in August and agreed to extend or postpone this matter again until this meeting, or when the lot was combined. Mr. Mancini did contact the city assessor in September, as I understand it, and to at least inquire about combining the lots. But he did not submit a complete application. The city of Fraser requires surveys of the parcels that exist in a survey of the proposed parcel, and legal descriptions of those. My understanding was that the assessor pointed that requirement out to Mr. Mancini, and that was the sort of the what has stalled this is those drawings at this point. Again, that was in September. And then Mr. Mancini's correspondence, which you read, sort of alluded to that and alluded to he says that he has talked to an assessor, or I'm sorry, a surveyor.
Yeah.
Who had staffing problems, but
I can attest to that only because 2 weeks ago, my nephew called me and he purchasing a property in Casco Township, and it's just a rectangular piece of property, but he has to get a survey. They don't have any survey there. So George Jerome was somebody that did a lot of business here in the city of Fraser, and I forwarded that. He said he can't get them out for 3 months. That was 2 weeks ago. That's a long time. And he said he's called other survey companies and they're all about 3 months. So I'm really surprised that somebody can't come. He said, mine is so simple. It's just a rectangle. All I need is the survey done. He's hoping I can help him out with something to tell. It's all by the
Well,
surveyors.
Randy, do the math. September, October, November. That's 3 months.
Yeah, I can't tell you what he did. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying that this just happened to me. So if it was recently more, there'll be time. It's going to take time to do that. But then again, there could be guys that do it even sooner. You just got to make calls. You can't just rely on one. If that's
Yeah,
what you're getting
exactly.
as an answer, call some other ones. People don't want to lose business, but I understand it's my daughter can't even get a price for a basement waterproofing. And then it's like, it's weeks out before they will even come out as a sales thing. And you'd think people are going to move faster on sales. I don't get it. I know it's long enough getting product, but to get the people out, even to just give a price, it's amazing. So yeah, I mean, I would keep calling. There should have been some effort to try to get somebody else if that was going to be the case. So I'll leave it in. I don't know what else, Mr. Urbiel. Was there anything in that? I know the assessor, according to your thing, the information you gave us, the assessor was waiting for that and wouldn't do anything without that. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that was the last contact until I reached out about the fact that this meeting was coming up and that the item was coming back onto the agenda. That was the last contact that the city has had with Mr. Mancini. Was that conversation of September?
That was September. So
Mr. Chair,
yes, go ahead, Commissioner Farina.
how do we elevate this? I mean, I've been on this committee for a long time, on the zoning board for 25 years, and this has gone on too long. I mean, how do we elevate this? What do we do?
Well, I think one of the things that's before the planning commission tonight is whether or not they want to deny the site plan amendment that he has requested. And then if that happens and he doesn't take any action to correct it, then the city has several options in connection with enforcing the obligations that he had under the site plan.
Okay, so let's say we do that, and then all of a sudden, it miraculously happens. They get it done. What is the process then? He's got to go through a whole process again then with the planning commission.
I think he would then have to, he would probably have to submit a request to amend the site plan again, and the planning commission, based on the fact that the last time around they said, if you combine the lots, we're going to consider that satisfied, then then they would approve that, and that would cause the case to be closed. But I don't think you can, if we take action on it and he doesn't do anything to correct the thing, then and the appeal period runs and all the rest of it, I don't think we can act on the request to amend the site plan after we've already acted upon it. Now, if it turned out that he immediately did something and said, I filed the application, I've paid the fees, all the taxes are paid. Here's a work order for the surveys to be done. I've paid the fees for that. I'm just waiting for them to get out there. Then maybe the planning commission would take some different action. But it's a little difficult to do that when months and months have gone by, and it appears at least like nothing has really happened.
Exactly. So as long as, because if we look at those possibilities, then if we take action on that part today, that doesn't completely cancel that option, right? Or that's what I'm
Well, I
trying to
mean,
get. There's some legal things here that I don't know.
Well, the case will be decided, but as of the time that the planning commission takes the vote, but there is an appeal period that from that, and I think it's conceivable that the planning commission, if they found out that he had done everything that he needed to do and it was just a matter of timing, that perhaps they could reconsider that action that they took at the next meeting. But it's very difficult to justify doing that when 6 or 8 months has gone by and nothing has happened. And there's a number of obstacles out there yet to be satisfied. I mean, there's as far as I know, no application has been filed. There's no survey, no legal descriptions. The taxes are not up to date, and all of those are requirements. And I understood that there had been some sort of inquiry about whether he could use an old survey, and the assessing office said the answer to that was no. And part of that is because the land division and combinations laws are derived from a state law, and the state law requires there be current documents, and there's a good reason for that, and that is that once these combinations or splits or whatever get approved, then they go over to the county land files section, and then that essentially causes them to revise the tax descriptions for tax bills. And it's very, very important that those be accurate. And the reason that the county land file people and the state law requires that is that if it's very difficult to get the legal descriptions corrected if they are incorrectly made a part of all of the land file records and so forth. So they really want those to be accurate. And if somebody just uses an old legal description from, say, a tax bill or something, those are notorious for not necessarily being accurate. So the reason that they require the survey and the legal description from a surveyor is to try to make sure that going forward, that the tax descriptions and the things that go out on tax bills are correct, because people sometimes rely on those when they prepare deeds and things like that, and it's really important those be accurate. So the assessor, in my judgment, properly said, I need a current documents, not ones that are several years or many years old.
Okay, so that's been going since September though, right? The assessing department gave that requirement back in September. Is that right, Mr. Urbiel?
That's correct. As I understand it, Mr. Mancini sort of contacted the assessor asking how this could be accomplished. She gave the application. He asked if it could be done without surveys or using the old surveys, and she said, no, that wouldn't meet the requirements. And that was sort of the end of it.
So as long as we're all clear with that, I'll leave it in the hands of the board if anybody wants to make a motion. And
You went through and your recommendation has not changed, and your recommendation was to deny, right?
Yeah, I think since last February, the recommendation was we don't see a way that it's in the city's interest without the lot combination, which is what we've been talking about for this meeting and the previous meeting. So yes,
But there's still that extra thing added to it is the lot combination. So it's all kind of being thrown up because of this lot combination not being done. We would be done with this. I see we've been putting a lot of time into this thing and a lot of money because
Right?
you don't work for nothing, Mr. Erbiel. And Clark, you don't work for nothing.
No,
So, you know, we could keep meeting on this and we're not seeing anything happening. So I'll leave it in the hands of the board to make a motion and we go from that point. The only thing is, I think we got to include because of that survey and the land combination. Do we give an opportunity for it? Or is this a dead end right with us today?
I got a question.
Go ahead, John.
By reading his email, it sounds like he's putting forth the effort. I do understand it's been going on for a long time, but I know in our business, we're also having a lot of issues not being able to get things done or get things. Would it be possible to table this till next month?
that's certainly an option.
How's the other commissioners feel about that?
Right. I
Go ahead,
mean,
Commissioner
it's
Perry.
already December.
Commissioner Perry.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't around when this started, but it sounds like we're beating a dead horse for little gain. Why can't we relinquish this guy of his site plan? He built 9 of the 10 homes. This last lot was bought by the adjacent homeowner, and there's no purpose for him to extend the street. I just don't know why we're wasting time on this. I mean, I get he made a promise to build all 10 lots, and he's been doing this for a while, and the situation does change. Economic issues change. He built 9 of the 10 homes, and it just feels like we're holding them hostage to this for really no benefit because the adjacent land is the park. So all these mentions on here, like potential impediment to the emergency vehicles, nobody's going over there. I don't understand why we're focused so much on it. It just seems to be a waste.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Zarnicki.
I would like the record to reflect that this application came in front of us.
Hello?
You froze.
You froze, yep.
Is she gone?
She's still frozen on mine.
I don't even see
Hear
her.
me?
There she is.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I can see everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
we
we-
didn't. You froze when you started
Okay,
your comment.
all right. I apologize. I would like the record to reflect that this application was first considered by this commission on February 6, 2019. We've been very considerate and very understanding with the conditions that Mr. Mancini is, undertaking here. We postponed it to this meeting. He was very aware of it. I would like the record to reflect that we do not see Mr. Mancini making any steps toward combining the lots or getting the taxes paid. And I would ask Mr. Andrews too, please to correct me. A site plan application, when it's approved, is a legal document. And
It
the
is.
applicant has to follow through with what was the original application. So I'm all for making a denial, and I'd be ready to, move on that motion after discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Barr.
I agree with her. I feel that Mr. Mancini is thumbing his nose at the city. He's saying, I got my money, sold my last house. What are you going to do about it? And I disagree with people like that. I've been an attorney long enough that I do not recognize or agree with people who are trying to slide through. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel about it. So I'm with Kathy on this one.
Okay,
Chairman,
Chair,
I'm with Kathy too.
who's that?
Farina.
Commissioner Farina? Okay. I'm under the, still that there is something being done. And you can't just say it's done, it hasn't done anything, but he has. And things happen. And I can look at that viewpoint too. I understand definitely this has gone on way too long. But I also understand this was a site plan from 10 years ago. Things have changed tremendously. And we have talked about the street and we've done everything with that. And as soon as you deny that, now it comes back to that property which he's already sold. And it is in a floodplain. I think the right thing is still, like Commissioner Perry's saying, that it's to that point where we are beating it and it's not going to get done. I'd rather it be done the right way, like we really wanted. That homeowner having it, joining the property, and then we're all set. And it's not because of Mr. Mancini, because he definitely hasn't followed through on a lot of things, but it's to that homeowner, it's to the city. I don't think we're ever going to get the other way. If we deny, where do we go from that? Because now the site plan doesn't have that property. I'm just in this limbo area where no matter which direction we go, it's like a catch-22. If we deny the site plan, well, then it's supposed to be built the way it was, and you got a guy that already purchased the property. There's just too many variables
Hey,
here.
the guy, Randy, the Mancini knew when he sold the property what he had to do.
I
It's
agree.
very clear. He absolutely knew what he had to do. He's sidestepping, in my mind, the process. He kind of told us that that's what he was going to do when he insinuated that when he was in front of us before.
But it's going in that other direction, Commissioner Farina. It's in that direction that we originally wanted. Now, what do? You just cut all that off, and now you drop all that because of that. I'm kind of like with the members that want to say if we table it again. I hate doing that because we could deny it and then make him come forward again. He's got to pay again for another site plan then. And I'm okay with that too. But are we getting anywhere that way too? And I understand we're not, doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere, but we are. It's tiny steps though. It's these tiny steps that we're not happy with. And
Let's table it for 1 month and then turn it down if he doesn't do it by then.
and I would be that makes the most sense because of the direction that's already been done.
We can throw several motions out there and see how the votes go. With that regard, I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to move to deny site plan amendment request 01-19 subdivision Max Mancini Garfield Park subparcels 1 through 10 proposed site plan amendment for the following reasons. The proposed site plan amendment would create a non-conforming unbuildable lot with no frontage on a public road. 2, it would potentially cause future negative impacts for emergency vehicles and require future infrastructure investment for the development east of parcel 4.
Okay, do we got all that down? Okay, do we have a motion to support?
Joanne?
I'm still,
Joanne,
what?
are you supporting?
I'm still thinking. I haven't made a decision yet. Come to me last.
Okay. I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Zarnecki, supported by Commissioner Farina. Let's take a roll call vote. Does everybody first know what that motion is? Do we need to have it reread?
Have it reread.
Okay, can you reread that, Mr. Urbiel?
I have shorthand of what the motion said, but if I can ask.
Would you like me
Commissioner
to
Zarnecki
recite it again,
reread it.
Mr.
Yes,
Urbiel?
please.
I can recite it again. if you'd
Thank you
like.
very much.
You're welcome. I move to deny site plan amendment request 01-19 SUB, Max Mancini, Garfield Park, sub parcels 1 through 10, proposed site plan amendment for the following reasons. The proposed site plan amendment would create a non-conforming, unbuildable lot with no frontage on a public road. 2, it would potentially cause future negative impacts for emergency vehicles and require future infrastructure investment for development east of parcel 4.
We do roll call vote on that?
Did you have a second?
Yeah,
you had
Mr.
a
Farina.
second from Farina.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Commissioner Barr,
My vote is yes. I agree.
Commissioner Zarnecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Farina,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyle,
No.
Commissioner Perry,
No.
Commissioner Warnick.
No.
That is 3 votes to 3 votes.
Motion fails.
Do we have another
Sorry.
motion?
I would like to make a motion to table it for 1 month. Like I said earlier, he is putting forth the effort. I agree with. We're just going to go backwards and start all over. It's not going to go away. I think it'd be a good thing to combine it, and it's not. I agree with everybody that this has been going on way, way too long, but it is moving in the right direction. So I say let's table it till January meeting.
And I will second that motion. So we have a motion by Commissioner Kyle, seconded by Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, is it worth putting in the motion that that unless this is accomplished, that the planning commission intends to take action at its January meeting? It's January meeting, so he knows that the time is ticking, so to speak.
Well,
Or at the very least indicate that the administration should notify him that the matter was postponed and that they intend to take action at the January meeting.
Motion
I
maker,
think that's good.
Okay, let me start over then. The only thing is if it's going to take, that many months to get a survey. I mean,
But if
this is probably the toughest thing I've been involved in since I've been on the commission for the last, I don't know how many years it's been. Now, I wasn't also not on the commission when this started. But I just know how things are now, trying to get things done. He has put forth some effort. The taxes aren't being paid. I agree with, but how should I do that? I mean, I'd like to make the motion to table it, and I think that it should be done in January, but if it's
Can I-
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is when it comes up in January, if the only thing that hasn't been accomplished is he hasn't got the drawings and the survey, but he's engaged a surveyor to do it, and it's just a matter that he can't get somebody out to do it. The planning commission then could postpone it again if they wanted to, because they would think that the thing is well on its way, and that the only thing that was needed was the surveys. I don't think the surveys are going to be that complicated, because by and large, these are platted lots but I understand the assessor's position that in order to process it, she needs current documents, not ones that are old. So, but at this point, there's been no application that has been filed. There's the taxes are still unpaid, and the other documents that are necessary to begin processing a combination request haven't been filed. So if all of those things were accomplished and the only thing that was happening was they were waiting for a surveyor to do it, and he said, I've got an order to have somebody do it, but they've told me it's going to be 90 days. I think the planning commission would be fine with that, because they would say, you've done everything that you can. But at this stage of the game, it looks like not very much has happened since February or whatever, certainly since August or whatever. So, and I think the planning commission wants to get this thing off of dead center. And so I think if you postpone it with the intention of taking action on it next month, and if he does everything but get the survey and the drawings done, and he has a communication that says that he's hired somebody to do it, but they just haven't been able to get out to do it, I think that would go a long ways toward you feeling that this is near the end of the tunnel.
I understand, totally understand.
And I agree with that. I think what we're losing sight of is that this homeowner purchased this property.
Correct.
And the process is started. Now we want an end to it, and we're ready to take this all away from them again without giving them a chance to end the process. That's the only thing. Other than that,
Let me read you my motion.
please.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone till January meeting with the following conditions. Application must be completed. Taxes also must be paid, and proof of a survey being scheduled and drawings completed.
And I will second that again.
Can I make a comment about the application being completed? The assessor is reluctant to accept an application until it is complete, meaning including the surveys, because once the application is accepted, there's a 45-day time clock for making a decision on it. And so I think the standard practice is to not consider an application accepted until, the assessor explains to applicants what is necessary, and basically says, come back to me when you have all these things, and then I will accept your application. So Clark, I don't know if there's any qualifications, or, if there is an application in hand or something, and the fee
maybe the answer is to indicate that he has to either have a completed application or have all requirements, including payment of the taxes, and with the exception of the delivery of the completed survey and legal descriptions, provided he has ordered those from a registered surveyor, or civil engineer, and he has provided documentation showing that that's been. I think what the planning commission wants to know is that he's actually committed to doing something. Because if he just says, well, I called a surveyor and the surveyor said it's going to take 6 months before somebody gets out there, and then that's not much further along than where we are now. But I think that if he knows that, if he has provided evidence that he's ordered it and maybe even paid for the work, that then we would know it's just a matter of waiting on the time, and then as soon as he gets those, he can submit those to you with the rest of the application, that you can see was at least complete, other than the drawings and the survey, so that we'll be able to quickly process it once we get those. I think that the Randy's point that it's hard to get surveyors out and the engineers to do that is a legitimate point. But when the taxes haven't been paid and there's not even anything indicating that he made an attempt to complete the application as far as filling it out and providing everything else, it makes you a little bit suspect about the good faith. And I think the planning commission says, we're willing to work with you if you're really going to work in good faith with us. But if you're just going to string us along, then we're not interested in going that route anymore.
Exactly. So we're basically saying, because application won't get accepted until the survey's done. So,
But he could submit a copy of that for the
Yeah.
sake of discussion to
Yeah,
Paul Urbiel, so that at least we know that he made some effort to fill
Right.
out the application, and he could say on that application, I've ordered the survey. I this is who I hired, and I anticipate getting that within 60 days or whatever. At least we'd have something indicating that the thing is moving forward and the taxes have been paid. And then it looks like we've checked off a lot of the boxes that are going to be necessary to process thing. All we're waiting for is surveys and legal descriptions. And given the fact that these are in a platted subdivision, I don't think that's going to be that complicated. But I think part of what's going on is that engineers and surveyors are so busy on big projects that they say, I don't want to fit in this relatively puny job, so I'm going to put it in. I'll tell somebody 90 days from now or whatever. That's what I think's going on.
so we need the proofs. John, do you want to amend that again?
Confused.
Yeah, it's confusing. I know. I just want to see it done too.
Oh, geez. All right, let me try one more time. Make a motion to table till January's meeting. If I understood what I heard correctly, with the application filled out and given to Paul, with the waiting of the survey and the drawings of the legal description. Also, the taxes must be paid prior to January's meeting.
Would you consider
right.
adding a work order from the surveyor?
Yes, well, with that would be with the application given to Paul with a work order from the surveyor.
Okay.
That's
Now-
great.
Now,
Did I do okay?
yeah, I'll second that. I'll support that. Any other comments? Get a roll call. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Perry.
If it already changed hands and parcel owner 4 owns it, how do we force him to pay the taxes on 5? Can I ask how much the outstanding taxes are?
I don't know the answer to that.
And are the outstanding taxes maybe on their parcel or their home?
It doesn't say in the email.
Yeah, it doesn't, nothing's clarified on that.
I don't understand how you're gonna make a guy pay taxes on a parcel he doesn't own anymore. If he doesn't own it, that would be parcel number 4's responsibility.
The way I read his email and his notes, that's what it sounded like to me. It wasn't him on the
Okay.
taxes, it was the
Could I
homeowner.
make, could I
I-
make, could I make a comment?
Go ahead, Commissioner Barr.
Okay. If the people are forced to pay the taxes and he does not do it, they can take that to small claims as long as we put in it that he has to pay the taxes. Then they have something to go to small claims on and say he hasn't. And they can collect it from him.
Well,
It's a-
it may also depend on what taxes it is that we're talking about, because a December bill would have come out today, and if that deed has been recorded to the new owner as of some earlier date, before December 1st, that December 1st bill not be Mr. Mancini's responsibility, but he knew that he was obligated to combine those things, and he had an obligation to look into that, and he would have, if he did that, he would have seen that the taxes have to be current. And maybe if he processed this land combination last February or March, then he wouldn't have to be worrying about taxes that came about in July and December, because he would have had this all completed before the time that that these new tax bills come out. But I think that I said this to him at a prior meeting: you cannot eliminate your responsibilities to this commission by conveying the property to somebody else. That doesn't get rid of your responsibilities. I would be hopeful that he would take care of the taxes relating to the time period that he owned it, and that the new owner would be paying the taxes on the part that since they've owned it. That's the fair way to do it. But the reason that Mr. Mancini is in this jam is because of his inaction in processing an application at the time when he had all those things under his own control. And it wasn't until much later that he conveyed that property to that new owner, and it was on almost on the eve of a planning commission meeting, like it was intended to try to get the planning commission to say, okay, if you conveyed it, we're done with it. We don't care anymore.
Okay, so we have a motion and a support. We take a roll call on that.
Sure. Commissioner Barr,
I approve. I agree.
Commissioner Zarnecki,
No.
Commissioner Farina, Commissioner Farina, are you still there?
See if you can come back to
We'll
him.
come back
after
to
you
him.
take
Yeah.
care.
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick.
Yes.
That's 4-1 at the moment. Commissioner Farina, are you there?
Technology.
Great when it works, and not so great when it doesn't.
You're right.
I would say that if he hasn't been able to vote, that you would count his as an abstention, and because he's present at the meeting, but obviously he hasn't been able to vote.
Okay. That would be,
And the practical side of it is, regardless of which way he votes, the motion is going to pass, because it's got 4 affirmative votes in favor of postponing for 30 days. And if we only have 6 members that are here, 4-1 or 4-2 is still going to pass.
Okay. You want to give it a 15 more seconds?
Commissioner Farina, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
There
Yeah.
you go.
We can hear you now.
It says press *6. I've been pressing it. I say yes.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
5-1.
thank you.
Okay, so that is approved, and now we will have a meeting in January, I guess.
So we'll elect, I can say confidently, we will elect officers in January.
Yes. So that solves that. All right, so let's move on. public communications on non-agenda items. Is there anybody in the public?
I see none.
Okay, so we'll move on to 9, zoning board of appeals member liaison report. Frank?
We have not had a meeting. Our meeting that we were supposed to have was canceled.
Since August,
due
we
to
haven't
lack
had.
of-
Okay, all right. I guess it was fall. Fall was the time for everybody to take off here in Fraser. All right, commissioners' comments and items of interest and or concerns. Commissioner Barr,
I have nothing at this time.
Commissioner Zarnecki,
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Farina.
There was a big to-do right as I came on the planning commission about getting packages and hard copies out to the people a week before the meeting. And I think that, and it was, Randy, I think you were still in charge of the building department when that happened.
Yep.
And I think that's important, especially, when I see what happened with my technology tonight, to
Yeah,
have a backup plan. To look at the details and the notes that I had, I can't look at the computer to see where it was. So
yeah,
I'm requesting a hard copy for every meeting and a week beforehand so that I can make my notes and get back to Paula in a timely manner.
I'm going to comment on that. And I've talked about this before, a long time ago. This board doesn't make much money, doesn't get paid much, but I know we are here as our public service, and that's the way we all feel. But when you have to start putting money into your own printing, which is crazy because ink is crazy, and doing all these extra things, and then gas to go visit the sites, I think that I can't remember what this board gets. Is it 25 or 20?
20.
I think it's 20.
20, yeah, so it's even worse. Here you got all these things. This HR department in Fraser has raised all kind of salaries and everything throughout the city. And these boards have the same amount that they've had for 30, 40 years. And
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
not saying it because I want the money. I just feel it's like we're getting taken advantage of this way. Because of what we have to put in to do our job. I mean, I guess I don't, it's not a job. I look at it as, like I said, as public service, and I have no problem with that. But when I have to start taking money out of my pocket to do things that I believe the prices have gone up to the applicants to pay for things. And when I've increased the prices, if I remember, at least 3 times when I was there. And it was because of things like that. And because of the cost to, you got to pay for the clerical, the administration and all this stuff. And they're paying it. That's the thing. The applicant is paying for all this stuff, but we're not seeing the part that I think the equity. So I think the main thing, if they're not going to raise our payment and stuff, I at least want to see that we get everything delivered to us, printed, and we should not have to print on our printers anything. Does anybody agree with me on that?
I agree with you. Plus, I want to say that I had trouble with my email for 2 weeks. I only got what I needed for tonight right before it started. I didn't have time to even go over it. So that's what can happen when your computer has problems.
Exactly.
Yes, I want a printed copy.
So,
Yep. And maybe it's time for the fall to take it. Budget time is coming up for the city.
Yeah.
And to do some comps with the other cities around here, smaller cities, and see what would be a comparable thing.
it's pretty surprising that our ZBA gets more than the planning commission. So,
Yeah, they get 25.
yeah. So it's just,
But they only,
did
And
not know
we're
that.
like, we're not here for the money, let's face it. It's
only-
not that much,
yes, exactly.
but it's
The only-
that fact of putting in out of
Yeah,
our pocket.
I don't know. Randy, you were in charge. Why didn't you raise it?
I think it was just, I always I raised the applicant fees to cover things, but they kind of just, we'd come up in budget meetings and stuff and, it went in one ear and out the other. And I never seen anything go
Mhm.
farther. It has to go through that whole process and they're always cutting things. That's the budget cycle, is to cut, not to add. So
But at least we should be with the ZBA. I
yeah.
did read an article this past week, and now I forget which township or municipality it was. I want to say it was, it might have been Clinton Township, that the planning commission got a raise, and it was, I think, $100 a meeting.
Yeah, I know.
So we're way behind.
I have talked to other cities and I couldn't believe it. I said, what? You get what?
Yeah,
And it's not about the
know
money.
Yeah.
We love doing the service, and
Right.
we put time and effort into it.
You do.
I didn't even know we got paid when I joined.
I know.
Right.
I asked why they wanted my bank account information. It's like,
Yeah, I know Warren's so busy they have 2 meetings a month, and I think the last thing on their ZBA was $75 a meeting.
Shelby has 2 planning commission meetings a month too.
Yep.
But they are bigger
So-
too. They're 36 square miles and whatever. So we
Yeah.
know
Right.
there is a lot more going
Yep.
on too. But I think looking overall at all the things they've done with this HR department, maybe they need to now look at commissions and do something with that. Anything else, Frank?
Just want to let you know that if you're interested with Breakfast with Santa, St. Malachy's is going to have that on the 10th. And everybody is welcome. You don't have to have kids. It's an all-you-can-eat breakfast. It's a fundraiser. For this year, we're doing it a little different. Normally, the men's club adopts families, and they're not doing that this year. We're adopting children that are coming out of the foster care system, and it's kind of bad when you come out of foster care. They give you a plastic bag, and they give you all your clothes in a plastic bag and say, hit the road. So we're adopting a minimum for our men's club of 6 foster care kids, and trying to give them a start on what they're going to do.
Where's this at,
It's a
Frank?
good cause. Pardon me?
Where was it at?
St. Malachy's Church,
St. Malachy's?
from 9:30 till noon.
Is that a Friday, the
you
10th?
know,
Or second,
sorry.
third? Yeah, it'd be a Friday.
No, it's a Sunday.
Yeah, I thought it
Sunday.
usually is a Sunday.
December 10th is a Friday. My
Yeah.
calendar's in front of me.
It'd be the 12th then. If it's the week from this coming Sunday.
Now I'm confused and I can't look it up on the computer.
Send us an email.
Yeah.
I do, well, Kenny, I see you on here. I put it on Facebook. Is your email up?
Is mine?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We're from,
Email?
we're from, or not email, Facebook. Is it up? Never mind. Don't worry about it. Anyway, it's coming up when my email comes, or my Facebook comes back up. I'll repost it on my site.
Anybody can kind of look on their screen. I think you see Frank's number, so you could kind of just text him if you're
Right.
interested and he can text you something right back.
Right.
All right, good.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Frank. Commissioner Kyle.
No, nothing at this time. Just want to tell everybody you have a very happy and safe Christmas and New Year's. And we'll see everybody next year.
Yeah.
Commissioner Perry.
Don't fall.
Yeah.
It just same as John said, everybody have a nice Christmas and New Year's. I did have a question, Paul. Did you say my seat was up for reappointment this January?
Right.
Do I need to do anything to stay on, or if the board wants me to stay on?
Assuming that you would like to continue, I just ask that you get back to Mary, the confidential secretary in the city manager's office.
Okay,
She told me that she left you a message. I don't know if you've gotten it, but I think she's talked to Commissioner Barr, and she was waiting to hear from Chair Warnick and yourself.
okay.
She called me, it was
Okay.
right at 5 o'clock, so. she
Oh,
probably
that could
didn't
be,
have time
because
to-
I didn't,
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah,
get a
this
call.
was happening. I talked to her at 5:30 or so. So this is-
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
just
didn't
had
get
to
a
write a
call.
letter to city council when I was up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
There- there's
Cassie
an
actually gave me a copy
application
of the
that you
letter to
fill out.
Cassie.
yeah. Because that.
Mr. Chair, can I
Commissioner Perry?
intercept for 1 second here?
Go ahead.
About the breakfast with Santa, St. Malachy, the date is December 5, so that is a Sunday.
Oh, that's this Sunday then.
Yeah.
It's coming
December
Sunday.
5.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for looking that up.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner Perry?
No, that was it.
Okay, and Chair, same thing. I even forgot that I know I haven't been on the board that long, but I took over for, I think it was Commissioner Katermis. So that's why my term is ending too then. But I
There's
did
an
not.
application. There's an application on the city's website that you fill out.
Yep.
And they ask you for a little resume and why do you want to be on the board and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So if that hasn't changed, that's what we had to do last time.
All right. Or just get a hold of Mary then. And what's her
Yeah.
position?
Mary is I think her title is confidential secretary. She sort of works with the city clerk and in the city manager's office.
Okay. All right, good. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas too. And we are going to meet again in next year. So it'll be 2022 when we see each other again at a meeting. And hopefully
Right.
we get some things happening here. Clark, is there anything?
I wanted to reiterate what you folks have said about wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I also encourage everybody to try to do everything they can to stay safe and healthy, because these are challenging times on that count, and I don't want any of you guys to be sitting in a hospital over the holidays.
Thanks. And me and John know that really well today, because I think we both slipped or something.
Took my first fall of the winter this morning.
Yeah, I had one today too. So
Wow. Well, you guys sound like you bounced pretty well.
yeah, mine was on concrete too, Frank. So I know
Yeah.
what you were going through. I just happened to fall just the right way. It was on my butt, so that had a lot of cushioning there. So that probably helped.
I had my lunchbox, my water jug, my backpack, and everything just went flying.
Oh man,
Ouch.
But I bounced.
there you go. And
Good
bounce
for you.
back. Alyssa, anything?
Good for you.
I just echo everyone's sentiments. Merry Christmas to everyone, and looking forward to another year.
Good. Thanks for all you do. Paul, anything?
Good.
I will just say that the message received regarding the packets. So we'll do that from now for hard copies all the time from now forward. And hope everyone has a great holiday.
You
Thanks.
too.
Thanks for all you guys do too, Clark too.
Thanks.
Anything else? I can't think anything. No other concerns from anybody. All right, so let's, I'll take a motion. Anybody want to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
to
move to
adjourn.
adjourn.
All right, who was first?
Frank can go first.
I
obviously.
will.
All right, Frank, you're first to make the motion. John, you support?
Yes, sir.
All right, I don't think we need a roll call on that.
No, you don't.
Okay, so we are good. And I'll see you all next year.
Take
Yeah,
at least a voice.
Have a
vote.
great one.
I'll see you tomorrow, Randy.
Yep, you will.
Happy holidays.
Hey.
Same to
Yep.
you.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.